Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Ali. And today, in the cipher, I would like to decipher technology, if you will. Computers basically run everything. President Putin over in Russia is doing this little thing, and one of the things that they was talking about on the news recently was that they was going to try to disrupt his computerized system, which messes up his banking and financial systems. It's so powerful that they call it a technological nuclear bomb, you know, and it's something that we want to be conscious of. See, you know, we have our little laptops, you know what I mean, phones, smartphones, whatever the case may be, personal computers, tablets, what have you. And the government gives us extremely turtle slow moving technology. To us, it's super fast. I mean, like, you know, like a picosecond is like 1/1,000,000th of a bit of information. In plain language, it's like our computers can find, if you take a word or a name and mix it up with 1,000,000,000,000 other names, you take a face and have facial recognition and mix it up with 1,000,000,000,000 faces on Earth. There's only 7 billion on Earth, but the computer would find that person or that name in 1 second. That's slow molasses in technology to computer geeks. Master Fard Muhammad blessed Japan with the secret science of technology, because that's where he built our mother plane on the island of Hokkaido in 1929 in the pond, which is now known as Japan. But there are ancient iron mines up in Hokkaido, and ancient documents about ancient flying saucers, as they call them, or unidentified flying objects. We call them IFOs, or identified flying objects. It's brothers and sisters in there that look like us. I mean, but Japan, with the transistor, even though they acted a little hastily in attack, they still was the number one as I was saying, in Japan, or Nippon, as it was known back in the day, and they used the sun, or Ray, or Ra, for their flag, which is an ancient symbol of ancient Kemet, or Black Egypt, Cam. But Japan, in this day and time, they had what they call the Fugaku computer. It's basically a supercomputer. This computer is reaching 442.01 petaflops on what they call a linpack. That system is so fast, it's so powerful, that the Holy Quran and the Bible teaches us that the devil sees us from whence we see them not. You know, just driving down the street in this day and time, you're on cameras. And those cameras are linked to these super cameras. And those cameras that you don't see are linked to satellites that you can't see with the naked eye. Over 20 of them is orbiting our planet, covering 196,940,000 square miles, or a circumference of 24,896 miles. And this data is sent to these supercomputers, and it literally places mankind in the position of seeing you literally once you see them not. If you look carefully, when they talk about Russia and all that, I mean, if you look at magazines like Newsweek, USA Today newspaper, Time magazine, if you look at stuff in the past like when Muammar Gaddafi was doing this thing, when Saddam Hussein was on trial for setting the oil fields on fire, his argument was he didn't do them, but the evidence they presented was they had pictures from the satellites of his soldiers actually throwing flares into the oil wells, putting them on fire. And the black smoke was so intense that black snow was falling in other countries. That's how powerful it was. But the thing that I never forget is how when they used the satellites to zoom in on Libya, on Muammar Gaddafi, they was able to zoom in on them. When they looking for Osama bin Laden, they was able to zoom in on the house and the camps, but the zoom was so clear. I'll never forget, I think it was Time or Newsweek magazine. I was like, yo, you could see the numbers on the car's license plate from outer space. What does that tell us? That tells us that our little young brothers in the inner cities like Philly, Chicago, you know what I mean, struggling to survive, you know what I mean, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, doing whatever, which is none of my business. But I want y'all to be conscious of the fact that these devils see you from whence you see them not. And you don't want 10, 20 years from now, you know what I mean, 30 years from now, you know, you caught up in something, you like, damn, okay, I just did 15 years, I'm about to get out of here. And then they like, no, we got new technology now. We can utilize that facial recognition, and now there's no statute of limitation on homicides, and they coming to you like they use ancient DNA from the 1950s. It was a black woman from Jamaica that taught them how to read that using inks. Now, I mean, you know, our people over Jamaica, they real wise when it comes to living on them islands. Now, I mean, so they use her skills to like, okay, we got this DNA sequence thing, but we really can't read it. It's just junk information. It's data. Data is not information until it's processed in computer language. You know what I mean? So this technology that we have today, eventually it's going to be more efficient, cheaper, faster. And sad to say, in that damn time, it won't be police. It might be robots coming to snatch you up. So be wise and stay civilized. Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle. I lead. The struggle continues.